Thank you.
You're so welcome. I'm so glad that we have connected. So it
Same.
fills my heart with gratitude.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Of course. One of the first things we realize is that we are middle children.
Yes.
And that already brings about special aspects in learning how to kind of stand back and you watch and you figure out where you fit in, where you don't fit in. How was that like for you growing up in your family?
Well, if you know a middle child, then you just know, right? If you are a middle child, you know what we talk about. I think for me, and I'm not an expert in anything. I just like to share kind of my experience and in hopes that somebody can see maybe themselves in me and realize there is a different way and it does get better. So, I had two siblings, an older sister and a younger sister. And my older sister was perfect. She did not have to study. She just always made really good grades and really good decisions. And then my younger sister, well, she was the baby. She never did anything wrong. She was so cute and she was the last one. And then there was me. So my oldest sister and I are 13 months apart. So um, I just remember growing up, I was lost. I didn't know really where I belonged. I was told in second grade when my mom had a teacher conference, my teacher told my mom that I wasn't smart and that I had a comprehension problem and that I should be held back. So even though my sister and I were 13 months apart, 1 year apart, in grade school, we were 2 years. So that kind of sat with me all through high school and then even when we went in the military. So yeah, I didn't really feel like I had a place at all. I would take the blame even if I didn't do the crime because I was the peacemaker. And I wanted everybody in my house to be happy and because there were a lot of dark times in our lives. And so I wanted to be the ray of sunshine. So for me, it was a struggle, but I felt like I did a pretty darn good job of being the middle child.
Absolutely. And, I had to find my niche, and mine honestly was my grades. I became this perfectionist where I had to have an A. We didn't have typewriters back then, although I remember, or excuse me. Yeah, we didn't have typewriters
Yeah.
back then. I remember when I got my first word processor. Like, that was huge, but we would have to write our papers out on the normal lined
Mhm.
paper, and if I made a mistake, I was not one to cross it out. I literally would crumple up.
Start over?
Absolutely. Yeah, it was crazy, but that's where I found,
Yeah,
my praise, I suppose you could say.
yes. It's funny you say that because, Jen, I found my praise in second grade when I overheard the teacher say to my mom, if she could find something in life that could pay her for serving, she
Oh,
would make a great living because I was the first to raise my hand in school, passing out the papers. I wanted to help, maybe the misfortunate ones in school, maybe they had Down syndrome. I just gravitated towards wanting to be the helper. So as you accelerated in school, I kind of took on the mother hen and I wanted to be the pleaser. So I offered my time all the time. I didn't care if I didn't even have the time. I was like, I'll help. I'll do it because for me, I'm more of a hands-on person. So I took that gift and poured it into everyone else. Unbeknownst to me, 51 years later, I kind of lost myself, right? Because I was
right.
pouring into everyone else and I didn't really have anything left for me. But I thought that's what kind of life was supposed to be.
Right. So you
Yeah.
went from the early age being told, she's not smart enough, but then found your niche in just being so helpful and
Serve it.
caring, right? It doesn't matter how smart you are, you can have the human way of having compassion and helping others. So I think that's great. Um, so you had mentioned a little bit about your childhood. You talked about how you were the ray of sunshine or tried to be the ray of sunshine, but obviously you had cloudy days.
Yes.
Can you take
Yes.
us into what those cloudy days looked like?
Yes, I can now. I used to not really talk about it, but I think it's important to be transparent with people so they can really understand like they're not alone. So, At the age of 7, I was in a very abusive relationship with my stepfather. So I was a victim of sexual abuse
Okay.
at 7 years old, and I'll never forget looking back now, like, I would be punished and then I would be rewarded having to perform on him. So I was always in trouble or I was having to perform. And I didn't understand that love and, that love was supposed to be shown in a different way. I thought love was just that way.
Right.
And so it wasn't until my mom actually kind of walked in because I was, I don't know if anyone who's ever been a victim of sexual abuse, they make you feel like it's your fault. They make you feel like if you say anything, you're gonna. I mean, he told me my mom would go to jail, we would lose everything. And so I never said a word. And I'll never forget when she found out and walked in on him. And then I had to testify. But what happened was instrumental in my opinion. I forgave him. I forgave him right away because I didn't know any better and I just knew carrying it was not good. But we ended up living in a tent. We had to live in a tent. We had no vehicle. But my mom, again, she made the best of it. So as a 7, 8-year-old child now, even though we had absolutely nothing, which is why my mom had a teacher parent conference because I didn't go to school. And so all of this was kind of unraveling in front of my mom. And so through those years, I just was very silenced. I was very silenced. I had to do whatever I was told. And I never had counseling.
Wow.
I never really, back then, maybe it wasn't a thing, I don't know. So I kind of suppressed it, and unfortunately, because I never healed back then, I just kept becoming a victim. I never victimized because I think you either victimize or you become a victim. I became a victim
Mhm.
because bad love was better than no love.
Right.
And so I was dating abusive men
Mhm.
all the time because I felt wanted and needed. And that's why I actually went in the military because I didn't have any other choice. I needed to get out of the situation I was in,
Yeah.
which is why I joined the military.
And, number 1, it's sadly very common, the sexual abuse, with children within families. At what age then were you when your mom walked in?
So it had been going on for about a year. So I was
Okay,
probably 8.
okay.
And my mom, I love her so much. I'm so incredibly grateful for her. But, we cannot control the cards we're dealt. And my mom did not have a very good childhood. Her mother committed suicide in front of her, and
Wow.
she was also raped as a child. So at the age of 16, my mom was married just to get away from her
Yeah.
traumatic childhood. And so she was a child raising me and my sister at the time. So she was 17 when she had me, but it was hard. It was hard on us, it was hard on my mom, but I didn't know any better.
Mhm.
I didn't know what was right and what was wrong at that particular time.
Right, and so then you end up in these abusive relationships because like you said, that's what you know. It almost feels safe because it's predictable to
Yeah.
a certain degree of what you're getting into,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Yep.
And so you obviously you went into the army, thank you for your service.
Aw,
Uh,
thank you.
yeah, of course, of course. Um, as a way to escape, and
Mhm.
then, how long were you there?
So I was in for a little over 2 years, but I was in for about 8 months and I got pregnant with a guy that I had just known for 6 weeks. And because of my childhood, I actually did not care for men very much. Not that I liked women that way, but my relationship with men was not the way it should have been. I mean, I had daddy issues because my dad chose to dismiss us when we were young. So that's why my mom was constantly looking for somebody to help her take care of us.
Right.
So when it came to men, I just had no really respect for them. And so I think that was really hard for me. So I got to my duty station and I had only been there a few months and got pregnant with Tristan. And that was a pivotal part in my life because unbeknownst to me again at that time having no counseling and not addressing the root cause of why I was suffering such bad anxiety and depression when my son was born, who's now 29. I have 3 adult kids and I'm on my second grandbaby.
Yay.
Um, I I know I suffered postpartum depression, but the doctor asked me about my family history and mine's kind of a hot mess. So when I was explaining to him about my mom's side of the family, he labeled me bipolar.
Okay.
That's when my journey of being on all the pharmaceuticals and opiates started. I was numbing exactly who I was for 25 years. I did not even know who I was up until a decade ago. My body was numb, my brain was numb. I was taking a ton of different pharmaceuticals, and it was hard. It was really hard to run my mortgage company, single mom of 3 kids. Everything was pretty much on me financially. And I just was doing the bare minimal to get through the day, to wake up to do the same thing over and over again.
Then I know you had just mentioned, mortgages. So then did
Yes.
you go into mortgages
I
at that
went
time?
straight into mortgages,
Okay.
and, it's not a lot of people know this, but I sold cars in Alabama when I had just gotten out. That was my, duty station where I was, stationed, and, they wouldn't hire me. They're like, "We're not gonna bring a woman in here because, there's 12 salesmen, and every time we bring a woman in here, it just doesn't work out." And here I am, 20 years old. My baby was 6 weeks old, and I brought my husband at the time in, and I went on 4 interviews, Jen, and I said, "Listen to me. I don't know anything about selling cars, but I am really passionate about helping people achieve something more." I didn't even know what I was talking about. I just remember having this conversation. And I said, "This is my baby and this is my husband. I am truly here to make a living. And if you don't hire me, it was a Nissan, Mazda, Lincoln, Mercury dealership. I said, "I'm going to go to the Toyota dealership and you're going to be very sad if you don't hire me." So I did that for a year and I made great money,
Yeah.
but I was working 6 days a week and it was a lot. So that led me into mortgages, which is the only job I've had since I got out of the military. I don't have any other type of experience besides my health and wellness business.
Yeah.
Um, because of my health, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's when I started doing mortgages and I loved it. I loved helping people. The more challenging they were, the better it was for me.
Mhm.
Whether it was fixing credit, my business was 100% repeat and referral. I never paid for a lead, which is right?
Yes. I also sold cars. This is one of the things you and I learned, about each other, and I was, I wanna say, like, 26, Mitsubishi, and I walked in, and I remember the sales manager, he was like, "I'm gonna tell you what, it's a man's world out there. You
Mm,
have to have tough skin if you're gonna make it,"
yep,
and I went out there, I fit right in, I was
yep,
like, "Okay, I can."
mhm,
Middle child, we
yep.
adapt.
We do adapt.
We adapt. Now, I was poor because I could sell Mitsubishis, but I couldn't sell anything else. So after about 6 months, I left and went back to what was, comfortable for me, which was retail management.
Mm,
But eventually, like you today, I also am in the mortgage business, but for me, it's slow,
yeah,
whatnot.
yeah,
But yeah, it's really interesting how we kind of did have parallel paths. But
we did. Yeah,
now you're in mortgages, and I can already tell when you talk about it
yes.
that you smile, you're happy, but it was kind of a up and down for you. Let me ask you this. So you've been diagnosed with bipolar. Did you hide that from people? Were you able to perform and hide this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was able, and everyone that knew me until I started getting loud with my story, they had no idea that I was dying inside.
Yeah.
I would leave my house and it was almost like I was Sybil. Like I could change a personality to be this happy-go-lucky person as soon as I walked outside my front door. I would go to work, I would be the ray of sunshine. I would walk into my front door at night, and remember, I have 3 kids, and if anything was out of place, I did turn into Sybil. Everything annoyed me. My relationship with my kids were not good. It really started when, probably even it's been 10 years now, so probably even 15 years ago when it got really bad and my daughter was kinda going down the wrong path, and I remember looking in the mirror and I was like, "You are the reason why Your kids are a direct reflection of you. Get it together, change your mindset. I didn't understand personal growth and development back then.
Right.
I heard a little bit about motivation, but motivation is good for a minute.
Right.
I needed to be inspired. Like I needed someone to pour into me and show me how to get out of my own way. I couldn't even get out of my own way to begin starting to heal. So it was a long, long journey that nobody even knew. I was making $20,000 a month. I've owned 11 homes. I was keeping up with the Joneses.
Right.
One thing I will tell you, it didn't matter how much money I was making, the quality, the cars I was driving, because my quality of life was so poor that there were days I didn't even want to get out of bed,
Yeah.
which is why I was diagnosed with my cancer, because I manifested it. I prayed every day driving to work. Please, Lord, if I could just take a day off, I need to be sick. I need to get sick so I could take a day off and not feel guilty. And I must have said it so many times that I manifested my third type of cancer.
Yeah. The power of the spoken word, right?
That's right.
You said, personal growth, and I
Yeah.
really feel like a few decades ago, that maybe just in my world, your world, personal growth wasn't really talked about, right? It
No,
was, counseling or church
it was
or
get on a pharmaceutical. What's the matter?
or
You're sick?
pills. Yeah,
Let me give you Xanax. Oh my gosh, you're this, you're that. It was always take something to feel better.
yeah,
It wasn't addressing the root cause of why we were so sad,
right,
why our mind was breaking down, our bodies were breaking down. Um, and that was a long, long journey
right.
to have to go through.
Back when I was 25 and selling cars, I too was diagnosed with bipolar. Now, I think decades ago, that was the thing. Like,
Yeah,
they didn't know what it was. I think really I probably had more so PTSD symptoms that I was going through, that I was diagnosed with bipolar. And of course, it's a pill, figuring all of that out. And for me, I too hid it. I would go to work, I would
yeah.
come home, I would binge drink, fall asleep with my clothes on, like my trench coat, everything, and wake up the next morning and do it all over again.
I was just existing in this amazing thing called life. And I was tired of existing. I didn't want to do life that way
Yeah.
anymore.
I love what you just said because as soon as you said it, what went through my mind is we were just existing, but I was like, "Wow, but do I even know who I was? Like, do I know if I would have showed up, would it have been me or would it?" Do you know what I'm saying? We were so
Yeah,
used to the part as that middle child of just showing up as, "This is what you wanna see me to be, so this is who you get."
right,
You
right.
know?
We're like a chameleon.
Yeah.
We can kinda, mold and be who we
Yeah.
need to be, but at the end of the day, we could just be who we are.
Right.
We just didn't realize we could be exactly who we are.
And that's where we are now in our day to day, and we celebrate that.
Yes.
Yeah, and together through you sharing your story, like, you are creating space and giving courage to others. Like I said in the beginning, you're gonna
Yeah,
say something that will help someone, and they can step into their truth and their
yeah,
true self. So you are so important. $20,000 a month, you're in mortgages, you're loving it, you're hiding the bipolar, you're going along
yeah,
with life, but
yeah,
then things took a turn, and all of a
yeah,
sudden, you lost everything. What
yeah, I did.
happened?
So within 6 months, I had lost my memory like Drew Barrymore from 51st Dates.
Okay.
I had filed a $2.7 million bankruptcy because the market had crashed. This was like in 2010. So it was a couple years after the crash.
Yep.
So I was moving along, doing all the things, and then I just couldn't anymore. And the stress of it caused me, like I said, to end up having cancer. So all of this happened within 6 months. And I ended up closing the mortgage company, getting on food stamps, and starting from scratch all over again. I ended up getting a place with my sister and her three children, and our kids are the same age, days apart. We were pregnant with all of our kids at the same time. So we bunked up all the kids, and her and I shared the master room for about 3 months until we got back on our feet. And my whole world came crashing down.
Right.
And I still wasn't getting the signs from God. It was like, a rock here, a pebble here, something would happen in life over here, but I just kept moving. I was going so fast in my life, just to go nowhere, right?
Right.
And then everything came to a halt. And it was then that I realized I was happier without the money. So I was like, "Oh, my relationship with money's unhealthy." I thought the more money I made, the happier I would be, but that was not the case. The more money I made, the more debt I was in, and it was a false sense of happiness within my own self. And so that kind of started that journey of self-love, kind of finding who I am. And then when I lost my memory, like Drew Barrymore from 51st
How did
Dates.
that happen?
Okay. I didn't know this back then, but I've been researching and studying for almost a decade. The side effects of the pharmaceuticals, the opiates that I was taking, the bipolar meds, I was on high blood pressure medicine, I was on cancer prevention medicine, I was on sleeping medication. Like I was taking something to help me eat, sleep,
Wow.
be intimate, be happy, be sad. I was the gerbil in the wheel in the pharma crisis. So the side effects, we don't know what that's going to look like until they start coming out. It can come out in a skin rash. It can come out where your hair is falling out. It can create disease in your body and turns into a tumor, which is now cancer. All of the sicknesses, all of the diseases, all starts from inflammation in our body when it's left unchecked, right?
Yes.
So I was masking the problems, taking all of the pharmaceuticals. And when I lost everything, I thought, what do I have to lose at this point? I have nothing to lose. I'm gonna now pour into me, and that's kinda how my journey started with activation.
I love that. And basically, I think that we run through life at
Yeah.
fast speed because God forbid we have to stop and actually think about what's in our head,
Yeah.
right? But God has a
Yep.
way of
Yes.
coming in and putting that stop sign.
Yeah.
"Er."
Yep.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Yep,
Yeah.
and that's what happened, but you
Mhm.
took that and, God made you to be this very beautiful soul, and He already knew your potential, and
Mhm.
He needed you to stop, and like you said, I love that you said pour into yourself. Can you tell me what that looked like? And I know it continues to look like that for
Yes.
you. Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
I had made a decision, that if I didn't take care of myself first in the morning before I faced my children, uh, the traffic, you know, my laptop, my Zooms,
Yep.
my day just wasn't the best it could be. And I didn't understand all of this when somebody said to me, "Hey, why don't you listen to," back then it was like YouTube podcasts. I don't even know if that was around 10, 12 years ago, but they're like, you should listen to a podcast. And Les Brown was somebody that popped up in my YouTube. And I was listening to Les Brown every morning, and then he would refer someone else, and that's how it started. So if you don't know where to start,
Yep.
go to YouTube or go to a podcast and type in how you're feeling and how to get out of the way that you're feeling. And then things will start
Mhm.
popping up. So every morning at 6 o'clock, I would set my alarm. I would get out of my bed. I would sit on my couch and I would do like a 10-minute meditation. And I would visualize what I wanted my day to be like. And I started doing that. And within days, I started noticing a difference. But I have to be honest with everybody. They're like, "Oh, well, what podcast?" If I didn't know about the activation part of our bodies, I don't believe that my life would be where it's at today because it allowed me to get the brain fog. It allowed me to get off of all the pharmaceuticals and all the opiates so that I was not numbing my body. Like I wasn't numbing my brain, numbing my body, numbing my feelings. I was able to really feel what it was like to be happy, feel what it was like to be excited, feel what it was like to be sad. And once I was able to discover that God made our bodies to heal completely by themselves, to thrive, our bodies don't recognize synthetic anything over time. So the side effects that happened to me was because of long-term use of opiates and pharmaceuticals. So everybody's journey is different, but I know if you're feeling like you're aging faster than you want, your body's breaking down faster than you want, it's because our bodies don't have what it needs to fight those free radicals. And you can't get them from food. You can't do that anymore because everything's contaminated. So it's been a very long journey, and I've spent a long time helping people activate their body so that they can feel alive.
Right.
And once that happens to you, I don't know what it's going to look like for you, Jen. I tell people this all the time. You will become the best version of yourself, whatever that looks like for you. You're not going to be me. You're not going to be, someone else over here. It's going to be your journey within your own body.
So
Yes.
I always suggest people talk with a medical professional. Like, don't just come off all of your pills because,
Yeah.
like, you have to wean yourself off. There's certain things that you need to do. So
Yes.
please consult your doctor before you do anything. But I love how you said you had to activate your
Yeah.
body really before you could begin your healing.
Mhm.
And like you said, all of the pills were making you numb. And I don't think people probably realize that. They've been told you have to have this for the rest of your life, or this is going to happen A, B, C, D. For you,
Yeah.
you found something else.
Yes.
And I would love for you to share that with our audience,
Okay.
and tell us about your personal growth story, where you are now, that ray of sunshine, all of those beautiful things.
Aw, thank you, Jen.
Of course.
Yeah, so, first of all, we only know what we know, and I didn't know any better or any different, I should say. So I was listening to my doctor. And I also want to say that this is not going to cure, treat, or mitigate any type of disease. But what I love about the activation part of my story is um, it's backed by science. So there's studies done by Harvard, Yale, the National Institute of Aging. It made sense to me, Jen, because I was taking something that I thought my body was deficient in: vitamin B, vitamin C, dopamine, antioxidants. I was taking collagen. I was doing everything that I thought my body was lacking. But here's the secret sauce: because our bodies don't recognize anything synthetic over long term, your body objects it, and that causes side effects. So what activation does, it's all plant driven. So it's plants compressed in a pill form, and it activates pathways that have been dormant in our bodies for years.
Wow.
So once we hit 30, we start the aging process. So we start getting aches and pains, and we start trying to supplement it. So what I do is activate pathways, turn switches on that have been dormant for years. So when you do this, it reduces the inflammation in your body by 40% in just the first 30 days. And it works on every human, every animal, every baby. There's no contraindicators, and there's been plenty of science. I mean, we have 9 patents. So we took it off the shelves of GNC, Sam's Club, Eckerd's, because the story needed to be told. So when my friend shared it with me, I took the activation part of the story that I've been sharing with you. That's where it started. Because if I can be very honest, I didn't have the energy to even begin to start personal growth before activation. I was so sad and such brain fog. I didn't have energy to do one more thing. So within 2 weeks of experiencing my body, the switches being turned back on, my mitochondria, which is the energy of our cells, were producing like a 20-year-old, right?
Yeah.
The inflammation was being reduced. My body started performing of that of a 20-year-old, and I couldn't believe how I was thinking, how I was feeling, and then I had energy to pour into me. So my health and personal development kind of started at right at the same time. And what I love about the power of activation is once you get activated, it has a cumulative effect.
Wow.
So you can go about your day, right? It's going to take away, 40% less aches and pains, 40% less anxiety, 40%, everything's going to be decreased. And after 120 days, 70%. So I wake up every day excited to get out of bed because I know that there's somebody out there that I'm going to serve. So I still do mortgages, but this is what I do because experienced this, I don't know where I would be today. I don't know if I'd be sitting here with you, Jen.
Gosh, I think that that is amazing, and, it goes back a lot to inflammation. Everybody has inflammation,
It's
right?
the number one cause of aging and disease.
Yep,
We
yep,
just ignore the signs. It's like your car. Your check engine light comes on. What do? You contact, like I have a Toyota 4Runner. I call Toyota. Hey, something's not right. I want to check it now so it doesn't turn into something catastrophic, right? Same
absolutely,
thing with our bodies. If you get headaches every single day, that's not normal. That is inflammation in your body, and we need to address the root cause by lowering the inflammation. And it turns your cells over that of a 20-year-old. If you have psoriasis and eczema, that's not normal.
right.
Normal is waking up every day, having energy to get through the day, and the ability to move, right? I know a lot of my friends that I've helped in almost a decade, some of them had months to live. They were
Wow.
chronically ill.
Wow. You said 2 words, that are extremely important, which is root cause. And root cause goes all the way back to our childhood,
Yeah.
and all the way through, because if we don't work to acknowledge, uncover, heal the trauma from our childhood, you just pack on more and more and more. It's like taking another pill of trauma. Here's another pill of trauma. Here's another pill of trauma,
Yeah.
aside from the pharmaceuticals. So I am so glad that you were able to discover your root cause and that you were able to find for you what is a very healthy way to accomplish your personal growth. Now, have you been able to come off all of your prescriptions,
Yes.
or yes, wow. And how many were you on, can I ask?
So I was on 12
Oh
pharmaceuticals,
my
including
goodness.
my high blood pressure medicine. So I started with like, I think it was Prozac, to be honest.
Yeah.
But then I had like the skin, like I felt like my skin was crawling out of me, right? So they were either up in the dose, lower in the dose, adding something else. So within 2 years, it took 2 years before I was on 12 pharmaceuticals. And then that was for 10 years. Then I was in a back-to-back car accident. So I have herniated discs in my neck and back, which is why they started prescribing opiates. So on top of the 12 pharmaceuticals, now I'm taking 4 opiates a day for another 10 years.
How did you
So
not become addicted?
you know what? I don't know. I don't have an addictive personality. I I think because I think being a single mom,
Yeah,
I wasn't drinking anyway, just so you know. Like I couldn't drink because of the side effects of all of the pharmaceuticals.
right.
So I never drank until 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So there was no drinking, there was no doing drugs. The opiates did take the pain away, but it also gave me a euphoric high,
Ah,
because
gotcha.
my body was no longer making dopamine. I was taking synthetic dopamine, which is what opiates are, right? For
Right.
so many years that my body quit making dopamine. So people
Wow.
that are taking like GLP-1, like hormone medication, whether it's Ozempic, Trizepatide, whatever it is, their body won't make that hormone anymore. I am showing people how to activate their body to make the GLP-1 hormone. That's the difference. So instead of taking collagen, I'm going to show you how to make it in your own body.
Wow.
So that's what the activation part is. And it truly does extend quality of life. The National Institute of Aging did a 10-year study, and it's the only product in this world that has been scientifically proven to keep your inflammation down at an all time low, which extends quality of life.
And if I remember correctly, you did lose weight.
Yes, because this is again, people say to me, what is it going to do for me? If you don't need to lose weight, you're not going to lose weight. But our mind body system, activating your body to make the GLP-1 hormone, the number one thing it does, which people, I don't know why they're so focused on quick fixes, even though it's traumatizing to your body, right? When you activate, it does take 90 days to get fully working in your body because we're turning cells over. I didn't need to lose weight, but here's the best part about our system when you activate your body. It reduces visceral fat, that stubborn
Oh,
fat around your gut,
yeah.
your brain, and your heart. So we are 40 to 60% less visceral fat. So dementia, Alzheimer's,
Wow.
heart disease, it's all coming down because we're addressing the root cause instead of taking synthetic hormones, we're activating your body to make them.
Which,
That's
they
so
say our bodies were designed to heal themselves.
That's how God made us.
Yeah,
Before Industrial Revolution, Jen, we did not have all of these problems. Let's even autism. How many people are diagnosed with autism right now? At a very young age, because the foods that we're eating as the moms, right, that we're passing down to our kids,
right,
and then from the time they're born with the EMS from their laptops, their iPads, their cell phones at a very young age, their bodies can't keep up with all of it.
right.
So it's turning into a disease, and it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. $2 a day.
Yeah. Well, and we'll have all that information,
Yeah,
in the show notes for everybody too, the link and all of that other stuff, because it's really important for us to educate ourselves. You decide at the end of the day what's right for you. Sherry is always available to answer questions. Her contact information will be in there as well. You became unnumb,
yes.
and what happened emotionally for you? How did that affect your relationships? I know you are engaged.
When I wasn't in a good place, I was attracting the same kind of energy. I am a big energy person and I'm an empath.
Yes.
I didn't know all of this. I've learned it over the years.
Uh-huh.
But when you're not in a good place, and I want you to think about this. If you are in a bad relationship, an unhealthy relationship, whether it's with your partner, your children, your coworker, right?
Mhm.
Let's talk about coworkers. You go to work and you are telling yourself, I can't stand my job. This person annoys me. They have, their body odor. They ask a lot of questions. It doesn't matter what it is. If you shift the way you think, not just about others, but whatever is coming out of your mouth, or even if it's not, whatever you think,
Right.
it does come to fruition. So for me, I had to change everything. I had to look at things differently. When I started loving myself more than anyone and anything else, including money and including my children, I love myself even more than I love my kids, because I had to do that and figure it out
Mhm.
so that I could be the best version of myself for them. And here's what
Yeah.
happens. This is what happens. And you don't even have to try to fix anyone else. By you doing the right thing and you getting yourself right and you getting your mind clear, people will start following you. It's like the energy that I was giving out, I was attracting those type of people. If I met my fiance a decade ago, we would not be together.
Mhm.
We wouldn't be together. And my kids wouldn't be where they're at today if I didn't choose to break the cycle of my family history. I drew the line in the sand and I said, I'm done making excuses. I don't want to keep saying my family history, it's
Right,
genetics. I was over it.
right.
And my kids are better. They've done a 180. Everyone around me, I have new friends. Um, like I said, everything's coming. Even opportunities are coming to me because I'm open to receive it.
Yeah,
We could pray all day. That was me
yeah.
for years, praying to God, please, I
Mhm.
need a sign. I need a burning tree. Well, you know what? I was never open to receive it. He was gifting me so many things, but I couldn't get out of my own way to even see it. So
Yeah,
it's important to be open, really, to receive whatever it is that someone's giving you, because you don't know how it can change your life.
absolutely, and, boundaries. Like you said, some of the people that were in your life before are no longer in your life, and part of loving yourself is letting go, and being able to recognize that. Now, let me tell you a quick story about literally
Yeah,
what happened, a couple of days ago. I opened up my sock drawer to pull out some socks, and I have two of the same color. One was on top, one was a few rows down. But I was like, I'm going to go for the one a few rows down. So I go and I pull out the sock, and out comes $100 bill. I was like, now I know this was not here because I literally just put all of these items away the other day, and this did not just appear. I ran to my husband and I said, "You'll never what?" I said, "I got a gift of abundance."
yep.
I mean, now
I love
trust me,
it.
I go through that drawer a little bit more thinking, "Well, there
Right?
might be another."
Is there another $100? Yeah, it's crazy. Even if you see a dime or a
Yeah,
penny, to pick it up is showing gratitude. It's showing that you are acknowledging and you are excited. Your body doesn't know if you're anxious or if you're excited. When you feel that, like I'm like your intuition, like if
Yeah.
something's happening and you're like, it doesn't feel good, that is a sign that something isn't right. And you've got to make a pivot. You have to pivot because if you keep going down that road, it's going to be very hard to get out of it, whether it's weight, it's an abusive relationship, it is just you telling yourself all these negative thoughts. The more you do that, the deeper down a path you're going, and it's almost like you don't even see light at the end of the tunnel. So I know that I have to do it every day. It's 5 to 10 minutes a day. If you can't give yourself 5 to 10 minutes a day, that is where it starts. It
Yeah.
starts there.
Yeah.
There's no miracle pill. I don't have a miracle pill
Right.
or a miracle drink. I don't, what I offer is not even a supplement. It's just activating our body.
Yeah.
So there's not anything out there that's going to turn a switch on and all of a sudden every day is going to be amazing and you're never going to get sick and you're never going to get frustrated. That's this activation part is going to help you handle life better. It's
Yes.
going to help you deal with situations better. It's going to help your body perform better. And at the end of the day, that's becoming the best version of yourself.
Absolutely. Hey, in closing, do you have one final thought?
I really think that choosing ourselves every day, number one, is going to be the best advice I can give you. And when something isn't going right in your life, it is okay to address it and make a pivot because we're not always supposed to be happy every single day.
Right.
And so that's kind of what I would say to you. And if you're afraid and you don't know what the possibilities could be for you, I would say choose yourself and say yes because you never know what's going to happen, whether it's through the power of activation or maybe somebody's been coming to you about something and you're like, I don't know if I should entertain it. I'm going to tell you to entertain it because the worst thing that's going to happen is nothing, right? But what if they have something for you that could change everything about where you're going?
Absolutely. You are not alone.
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
oh my gosh, Sherry, thank you so much
Thank you.
for being
Thank you
my
for having
guest
me.
today.
Yay. All right. Talk soon.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.